And welcome to AM News.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a challenge for Bafana Bafana going away to Cameroon, which actually were topping the group, and the boys are going there with a depleted team. What do you make of this upcoming clash?
Very interesting, given the results in the other two teams coming to the game today. There is a mountain for Bafana to climb. Mauritania ambushed Bafana Bafana 3-1, and it was not to be expected. They beat Gambia 2-1, and as a result, as I stand here and speak to you now, in that group, Mauritania are topping the group by virtue of a better goal aggregate, and Cameroon find themselves in the second position, both on 6 points, and therefore it places a lot of pressure on Cameroon to grand results against Bafana Bafana. You recall the Cameroon grand results against Mauritania, die minute 1-0, and Mauritania have proved to be the surprise package of that group. Is going to be very interesting. Going into Cameroon, that last loss an AFCON qualifier in 1975. 1975, I was still doing my matric. I was a very young man, and it tells a lot of a story.
So what are you saying? The Cameroonians haven't lost a match since 1975 when it comes to the African Cup of Nations qualifiers.
Yes.
And you have Bafana Bafana going there after having lost some of the players they wanted to be part of that team, let alone the players that many soccer lovers in the country still feel that they should have been part of that team. What do you think? Do you think Bafana Bafana and Shakes, as they believe that they're going to cause an upset in Cameroon, do you see it happening?
Reports from Limbe in Cameroon are suggesting that Bafana Bafana are in ICU.
Already, even before walking into the pitch.
That for me tells the complete story. I'll tell you what. You know, Cameroonians are not called indomitable lions for nothing. They are called indomitable lions because when the times arrive and if needs be, they are able to rise to the occasion. For me, it will depend on how Bafana respond to the challenges that is thrown at them, because it's going to be very, very tough. And with number one striker, Dinon Drove, who have proven to be scoring in the European League throughout this season, out due to injury. And the replacement of Mabena and Dumiso Mabena from Platinum Stars, as whether he can withstand that. We know that Tuke Laurenti was on form during the previous qualifiers when he went to Nigeria and scored a brace, but he hasn't actually participated a lot this match for Bournemouth in the BPL this season, and that placed a huge challenge on Shakes Mashaba and his charges.
What would it take for Mashaba to get maximum points out in Cameroon?
Football is very dynamic. Football is very unpredictable. And for that, you don't write a team off completely. That suggests that on the day, if Bafana have their mind and their tactics and their mentality in place, they can also cause an upset. But you are fighting against time. You are fighting against a mountain. You are fighting a Cameroonian team that is aware, having slept and known that they've been dislodged from the summit in the group. They need to come all guns blazing. They need to ensure that they win. They are playing at home, and they must travel to Moses Mabhida on Tuesday. And this is a very defining moment, because should Cameroon win today, it will mean Bafana Bafana are technically out. They cannot qualify for AFCON 2017 in Gabon. And that is the only motivation they have. But motivation is something else. And in terms of practicality on the field of play, I think those two teams are going to slug it out. It's going to be a very tough game. It's going to be a very competitive game. Both teams have key players out due to injuries. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the game unfolds this afternoon.
Looking at the other qualifying matches, last night actually was sitting up watching Nigeria against Egypt. They led much of that game by a 1-0. In the 9 minutes, Egypt make that equalizer goal. Share with us some of the qualifying matches that have been going on.
Ahmed Musa had an opportunity to place Nigeria 2-0 and put the game beyond any reasonable doubt. But the goalkeeper, Snawi of Egypt, was equal to the task. With a very strong hand, he blocked that goal. And guess what? In the dying moments of the game, Mohamed Salah, AC Roma midfielder, the talisman in the Egyptian team, got the much needed equalizer against all odds, because had Nigeria won, they could have been number one as we speak. 1-1 still put Egypt on top with 2 points leading, and now Nigeria must travel to Cairo to meet them in the Lions' Den, in a theater where many visiting teams have not found it a very happy hunting, and it's going to be very, very tough. Again, the CBD, Billiard, Willard Kasande and company were in Somtlolo Stadium in Swaziland yesterday, and they also played 1-1. And as a result, they leapfrogged to the top of the log. Very, very interesting. But for me, if you look at it very critically, the fact that the likes of Mozambique could not pose a threat to Ghana in Accra, the fact that Kenya traveled to Guinea-Bissau and lost 1-0. You know, Guinea-Bissau is a very small island, and Kenya were full of hopes with their inspirational captain Victor Wanyama playing for Southampton in English Premier League, scoring a lot of goals week in and week out. We thought Kenya was going to win. They lost 1-0. And of course, Botswana traveled to Comoros Island, and they lost 1-0 against us. Everybody would have thought that Botswana was going there for a routine match and back 3 points and come to Gaborone and finish the business. They lost 1-0. And that means the return fixtures are going to be very, very interesting.
Let's bring it home here around the SADC. Let's talk about, because I know a game that we actually were monitoring yesterday afternoon was the one between Swaziland and Zimbabwe. Because we know that Swaziland was actually, or is actually in the verge of qualifying for the first time for AFCON should they win against Zimbabwe. What are their chances?
Independence in the sisters and a very powerful nation, although small, run by a monarch system with King Mswati as the head of state, and yet they have not been able to go into the African Cup of Nations finals, the like of Cape Verde, an island with only 500,000 people, which is part of Soweto, because Soweto is 4 million, and therefore if you put Deep Roof and Shawelo together, it's almost the population of Cape Verde. Cape Verde, at a point in time, beat Portugal 2-0 in a friendly game. And they are the giant killers of African football. They are supposed to meet Morocco, but Swaziland haven't accounted for themselves, but I think time and tide waits for no man. Football is a process, not an event. The way they played yesterday, I was very impressed. Technically, they were very sound. Tactically, they were very much aware. In a space of 2 minutes, they scored their first goal, and of course, the Zimbabweans came back and equalized. If you have got a BMT player such of the caliber of Willard Kasande, who plays for Kaizer Chiefs, the B, Kama Billiard and company, who are very well known, Cuthbert Malajila, also for Sundowns, in a team, obviously, you are going to struggle. As a result, they get the much-needed equalizer to ensure that they leapfrog Swaziland to the second. But Swaziland are not yet out, because I'm of the belief that what one man has done, another man can do. If they did 1-1 in Somtlolo, Swaziland can go to Harare and get a result, because Harare is not a very strange, happy hunting ground. The conditions could favor Swaziland to get a result and therefore restore their summit on the pole position and ensure that they get to the finals of the AFCON in 2017 in Gabon.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but as always, thanks a lot for coming through.
God bless you. Thank you very much.
That's Coudjo Amankwaa, SABC soccer analyst, sharing with us some of his views on the qualifying of AFCON. Up next, Philip Hawkins.